celluloid, and we're turning it into music and podcast for you.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of We Came From Celluloid Podcast. I'm Nicky B, here as always with the illustrious, the inevitable Mr. Brian Pritchard.
Hello. Good to be here. Thank you, Nick.
We are sharing the stage today with our new friend, Nico Cellz from Bag of Humans. How are you doing there, Nico?
You too, man. Thank you.
I'm excited you have the demeanor of someone that I expect from the part of country that you were from. No, here's why I can't, because I'm Italian by nature and by birth, and so when I did used to drink, I would put on the affectation of like that part of the country's accent, even though like I grew up in the part of New York that doesn't have the accent. It's like I've watched way too many mob movies in my life that I feel like in some. I mean, I'm not gonna say I haven't had my touches with that part of the world, but I've done well to stay away from that part of the world mostly. I don't talk to those cousins, is what we're saying. I got plenty of grit. Ain't a problem there. So, Bag of Humans, I'm excited to have you because we're going to be sharing the stage with you here in, what does it go? A month and a week, maybe? Something like that. It is coming up quick, and I've been really excited. I think all of the bands have like opted into coming on the show so we could frankly make some content to share on the internet and try and build some buzz, blah blah blah, marketing words. Well, if nothing else, that is all we have in our band is endless motivation for me and Pritchard here.
Well, but like we're talking to like-minded people, not just from the fact that you showed up here tonight, but I was pleased in doing my homework to go like, oh, this is cool. This aligns timing wise with like the drop of a video that from the looking at the other parts of your feed, it's like years in the making, right? As so many things are years in the making. You know what I'm saying? So number one, congratulations on being less than 24 hours from the debut of your new video and your new single, man. That was really cool. Dude, but you know what? You just let that be an Easter egg, right? Like we were just talking about before you hopped on the idea of like back in the day with physical CDs, you might get a different version of a song or a bonus track kind of thing, right? And literally just over the weekend in my shuffle, I heard I had my playlist on an alphabetical order, and Fell on Black Days by Soundgarden came on, and I realized I had two slightly different versions of that song, and one of them was labeled the music video version, right? And just like subtle little changes in the delivery and the performance, and just sort of remembering like, yeah, that's not the only song that was like that, right? Where like the music video take of it was actually its own beast. So even with it being an accident, it's like fuck it, let it be a happy accident and go like, no, that's the music video version, bro.
Well, they were notorious for like cutting out like halves of long solos and stuff back in the day, especially in like that particular era. Because like, you let Kim Thayil go for a while, and like he'll go, but like they were never like playing the whole thing on there because we got 4 minutes to get this done. And MTV doesn't got that kind of time. What do you think this is?
but it did, it immediately conjured up to your point, like when you say a zombie film, it's like, yeah, you've got the black and white, woodsy sort of Romero Night of the Living Dead feel. The baghead creatures to me were immediately, Jason 2 specifically, right? Like the baghead Jason, right down to the flannels, you know what I mean? And then like, just that it was fun seeing the plot twist with like, got it. And then she's like a vampire, like mind control beast. And I'm not even sure if there's a specific reference there. It went over my head other than to say, I loved it. I love that it's all in the stew and that it's obvious that like, at the very least, the dude that made that one. And there was another video where I'm like, oh, this guy's doing a oner. You know what I mean? Like, as filmmakers do, where you're a oner, like an all-in-one shot with no cuts, where it was following the guy down the sidewalk. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, where like you end up like playing with the band, but it follows you as you like move through the street and have interactions with people and stuff. Yeah. Totally. No, it's incredible. Oh, sure. No, another classic for sure. Yeah, well, and again, like something like that Goodfellas shot, like I feel like I'm a film connoisseur, but I'm not a filmmaker, so I'm co-opting the jargon terms that I hear in commentary, where those all-in-one shots, the all-in-one shot, something like that Goodfellas thing, I feel like is a way that filmmakers have been competing with each other up to and including something like that 1917 movie that Sam Mendes made a couple years ago, where he was just like, "Oh yeah, how about the entire movie's one shot?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so if you weren't aware, Nico, we are mostly like we're a band that has a podcast that just tends to talk about movies a lot because we both like movies. So I've always loved how fortuitous it is when we find other musician friends that are like people that like apparently care and like have ideas about film and stuff. I tickles me pink.
dude, I've talked about on here like there's this notion where I've found myself only in the last few years really starting to be that much more mindful about it. Like, well, I remember when I had started a family and had kids. That was the first change as far as going like, if I'm not really loving something after like something new that I've never watched after, it's more than halfway over, if I'm sort of feeling like I'm never coming back to this thing, I'm not afraid to bail on it. Whereas like I would never do that. The thing that I'm finding myself doing now though is like, I keep using Bordello of Blood as my example for some reason, where it's a movie where I remember really loving Demon Knight, And so I saw Bordello of Blood in theaters, and like I didn't really like it. And yet like I wanted to like it so much
It's what happens when you get rid of Billy Zane.
that I keep coming back to it, like wanting it to be good. And like the last time I watched it again, and it's a movie that I own in my collection. I own the fucking, Blu-ray from Shout Factory, and I watched the commentary track and all this, and I'm going, fuck, I don't even like this movie. You know what I mean? Like, why am I watching the commentary track again? Like what the fuck? Like the comic book character?
Why am I friends with you?
Takashi Miike is the dude's name, right? It's Miike. The director is Takashi Miike, and I haven't seen Visitor Q, but I saw Audition and I saw something else of his, right? Where I saw enough of his. I just know the dude's work really turned me off, right? Like that. It doesn't surprise me that Audition's a movie where a guy like falls in love, and it initially presents itself almost like the first 30 minutes is like Asian Sleepless in Seattle, and it's like a single father falling in love with like a new woman that he starts dating, and then the next hour is her torturing him, like cutting his dick off, like with a razor kind of shit. And you're just sort of like, ah, terrific. I'm glad I came. You know. Well, and some of it I've found genuinely moving. That there's I remember as a kid I read a lot of movie magazines, right? That I think I had an aunt who saw that I was interested in movies, and so like one year for Christmas, my gift was a subscription to Premiere Magazine. Okay, and then when you're reading a thing like that from cover to cover, there's this a sort of list building going on as a result, because people would talk about like the things that inspired them and the things that they loved and all of that stuff. So the recommendations were kind of coming in hot and heavy. Did you guys ever see the Three Colors trilogy from France, the blue, white, and red in the early 90s? Yeah, just as far as like some foreign films that managed to like make their way over, and I mean, El Mariachi is just a fucking action movie, but like because it's got subtitles, you're like, nah, I'm cultured. Look at me, like that's the one that Robert Rodriguez made that right before like Desperado is essentially a remake of El Mariachi.
But El Mariachi is why he gets all the acclaim he gets. Because he managed to do that. What?
Because he made it for like $13,000. Yeah.
Come on, you don't know about Spy Kids? My kid's a little too young and I'm a little too old. Just missed it. I know they made a ton of money.
He's done those franchise runs with Spy Kids and with the Mexico trilogy, right? But I gotta shout out the Faculty, which was Kevin Williamson, who did all the like the Scream movies. Wrote. So it's another like high school. It's like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers movie in a high school.
It's got one of my favorite soundtracks to it, is what it's got.
But that one landed with both of my kids that like as they were going into like their freshman years, like I remember the summer before freshman year being like, all right, we're gonna watch the fucking Faculty and just to fuck with them a little bit.
Yeah, dude, if you haven't seen The Faculty, it's a lot of fun. And it has a gem of 90s like alternative soundtracks to it. Super fun. Probably. Um, while we have you here, we might as well talk a little bit about the band, I feel like. So so why don't you I want to know what is Bag of Humans from your perspective? So it's, instead of I take value so I don't kill you, motherfucker, it's I make music so I don't kill you, motherfucker.
I was noticing too, just of like finding a video of you guys playing. It looked like a show with VOD like 13 years ago, something like that you guys had, and so that hits me too of just going like, oh, you've managed to keep a group together for a while. Has it been pretty much the same lineup or entirely the same lineup or? That's cool, man. And was Bag of Humans your first project band at all, or how when did that journey start just for you in general?
What is it about that part of the country? I'm sorry. Like, well, it's the Bloodhound Gang. That's freaking all of that shit from that like rap rock like white boys from the suburbs rapping.
Chaos Thriver is awesome. It was my favorite of personally of the batch of songs. Like I liked everything I heard. But that one, and I'm so glad to hear you mention Beastie Boys because I was going like I don't know people's influences. I find all the time that like you could rattle off probably like be like these are my five favorite bands and maybe I know like two or three of them, right? But like that was the specific thing I was thinking of listening to that song is like, oh, this is what it feels like when the Beastie Boys pick up their instruments, dude. Like, and so I'm reassured to know that like maybe I wasn't totally crazy picking up on a bit of that energy. It's a really cool song, and the whole series of videos, again, very cinematic. Like the dude you had as the feature, was it was like Live and Let Die, right? The Baron Samedi hat and stuff like that from the old Bond movie. Whether that was intentional or coincidence, you know what I'm saying? That's where my mind went was Baron Samedi from Live and Let Die.
So one of the other things I want to know about it, and it's because like I feel like it's the struggle that we always have, or at least I do with our band. Is it's like you don't fall cleanly into any type of like specific genre. Like, yeah, it's pretty heavy, but like it's also weird, like, unassailably weird. And I love that. It's like, how do you how do you deal with that? Like when you're, what kind of band are you? You know, like what are we in for tonight? Why don't we tell our people what are they in for when they come and see us?
No, that's fair. I forget sometimes how intimidating metal can be, right?
That's like 3 days before my 18th birthday. Yeah. Oh wait, I make no qualms about this. Is a dad band thing here. That particular era in music just gets a lot of shit that it doesn't deserve. Oh, you'll never get me to defend Tool in that particular way. I think Tool's boring as hell for like 90% of the material, but I'm thinking like in more like the Korn, Deftones. I'll go as far as like the Limp Bizkit era. Like, I mean, you can talk a lot of shit on it, but dude, there's a lot of fun songs there, and I think a lot of the issue is because it's maybe the beginning of the decline of the white male in society coincides with those particular acts, and it's like the first taste of the rage to come out of that sector, and so it's just historically looked at as being bullshit. Like, fuck you guys. Well, I mean, I will definitely stand by the rage is all bullshit. Like they're raging for the machine as far as I can tell these days. But well, it's a weird transitory period. I mean, because even when you're talking rage, like look at the contemporaries of rage. Like that's all was legitimately well. I mean, like, as far as like I'm thinking like as far as time goes, like what that is the era of like Soundgarden's peak and shit like that. Even like some of the best, like when Bush was making decent records, it was during that era. It was pretty bad.
No, I was thinking of like there's a tipping point, right, with like a cultural movement in a given direction where a thing moves from being interesting to being overdone, oversaturated and overdone, right? And that tipping point takes place. The jump the shark moment, whatever you want to call it. And so indeed, inside the arc of the entire new metal movement, let alone a single band, like Limp Bizkit for me, to your point, at the moment that the chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored, it's like, boy, this is a fucking new low, not just for you, but for all of music, right? And Cypress Hill, a band I love, you're right, like their new metal album fucking sucks, right? And it's like, how can this be? Like that this has all the reason like to be something excellent, but it doesn't work, you know what I mean? And even again, not to make it all about movies or whatever, but I think of the way like reboots and remakes also then have become a thing where there can be one or two kind of cool or interesting versions of a thing that's revisiting. Like I think that season 3 of Twin Peaks coming back 25 years later is one of the great works of art that's ever managed to make it to the big screen. Well, it didn't even. It's on Showtime, but then it also leads to like Fuller House and like what I mean, a bunch of bullshit popping up around it. So who knows?
It was weird about Arrested Development because I never watched the show to begin with. Like I binged the whole thing and then watched the last season. You could still tell, oh, this is not quite the same thing. It was just oh no, I think you have to do it. You said you've got a kid, man. You've got to now because what if you stop? What lesson are you teaching your kid, man? Like that's why we have to do this. We have to be old men going on tour because if not, then my kids can learn it's okay to quit shit and it's not okay.
Well, and I love the confidence. Feels the fact that you've been an act for a long time. I think reveals itself in the way that I want it to as a listener when I hear those new songs, right? You know what I mean? Like you do feel like a band that has the confidence of 20 years, you know what I mean? Of weight behind it. So no, those tracks and singles land really well. When does the new album drop? Okay. Do you have more material coming out, or was that video the last like single ahead of the full piece? Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I would think. No, I was curious if I guess in terms of the build to that, was last night's video the last sort of teaser that exists, or do you have anything else that's still a teaser? I just more admire and see the tenacity, right? Whether that's in a decades long run with this act or inside. There was at least one of the videos that I encountered on Instagram had the instrumental of last night's video was the base of it, and you were teasing new music, but it was from 2023. I'm not bringing that up to give you shit, dude. Like I'm bringing that up as a compliment, right? Because yeah, and that's just the way it goes, and that's what I admire. And I'm trying to pay you a compliment and say I really respect the tenacity of just putting one foot in front of the other at whatever pace you can, dude. You know what I mean? Like
He's absolutely full of it. What he's actually doing is he's backhanding me because I take too long to write lyrics for him and record vocals. I have how many tracks stuck in Nick needs to record vocals over this limbo? Yeah, that's all this really is. So I'm gonna ask the question: what is the scene like out there? You guys are in Baltimore, right? I've got a bunch of friends out in Baltimore, so I hear enough. It's hard to have a good opinion of the city when you guys gave us turnstiles. So the art school kid kind of thing. Well, I'm just gonna sound dismissive because I can.
A funny side note. You guys, Baltimore was a surrogate for Harvard in if you've ever seen The Social Network. Did you ever watch that David Fincher movie, The Social Network, the Facebook movie? It's set in Harvard in Boston, but it was filmed there in Baltimore. So it might just amuse you to watch it sometime, just even in terms of going like, "Holy shit, I know that spot." You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh wow, okay. Got it. Filmed locally. Yeah, of course, The Wire. Well, I was asking in part about the promo leading to the album release because we always like to end these interviews with other bands with playing it out with a song, right? So of the releases that you have, do you have one that you would like us to feature so that as people are listening to this episode when it drops, what song of yours can we play at the end?
I love that title, by the way, so much.
So that's not even one of the singles from a video perspective. I haven't heard that song, I don't think then. Well, shit, man. So we got an exclusive after all. Hot damn.
So Brian, I'm gonna throw this out there, Brian. I want to be really selfish here. So Nico, when we do eventually make our way out to the Baltimore area, what venue do we need to be looking into? What is the hot place that we want to try and get into? I don't care if the venue you think is like we used to do it in the old AmVets Hall or whatever, PFW. It's Baltimore after all.
I know we're excited to be good hosts for you, right? It's cool working with well, and working with Joe, right? And Joe gets it. Joe's the best, right? And so we've got two different bands between Ironworm and Puma Thurman where we both have our respective crowds and fans and supporters, you know what I'm saying? And the idea of trying to position you guys as visitors to be in the best spot to take the time to come all the way out here. We just want to do our part to make sure that you're playing for fucking people, right? Like whether they love it or not, like let's at least give you a yeah, that's really classy, man. It's really classy. No, that's super cool, man.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Nico. You got a website we can send people to? Well, thank you so much for coming on, boss.
You know as well as I do that the majority today has no choice. The majority has never been offered a choice between control and freedom.
Hey! We're making all your dreams come true. Hey! You knew one day that bill would come due. It's sad, really. Please tell us what you know. Strange. How much it's all changed now. Wow. Look at me. I'm so full of empathy. You do not speak for me. Look at me. I'm so full of empathy. They won't quit until it's done. Patience is the virtue signal that ruins life of mine.
And we're turning it into music and podcast for you.